Yes, happy birthday to Travis Chastain there. And yeah, Adam, Travis is not blocking anymore. Travis Garrity, he's back with us. So you may see his comment here in a second. Sorry about that. I know he's a Purdue fan. Yeah, I love all our fans, right? Kevin's from Purdue. Can't knock on Purdue there. All right, I hope you guys are doing well. I'm waving meteorologist Brian Good. All right, tell you what, guys, we have a lot to cover. Make sure to certainly click that share button right now for your friends and family so that they are aware of some of the changes coming our way. There's quite a few. There'll be back and forth in a fairly dramatic way as we head into much of the area over the next 3 to 5 days. So very much a variety of different weather events. So that's the thing. Right now, nothing major is coming our way. It's just going to be different elements. And certainly if you're not prepared for that, you're going to be wondering what is going on and what was up with the groundhog the entire time. All right. We'll cover all that in just a second. As always, you guys can comment, and you are, and I'll try to get to as many people as I can. Real quick, Andre, your comment there. Virtual training today with the National Weather Service. Yeah, they're doing their storm spotter. They have it on the National Weather Service Louisville website if you want to check it out. They're doing a lot of their storm spotter training remotely, so you'll be able to see the schedule for that and the classes. Great time to take advantage of while it's quiet right now to get some of that knowledge there. And it helps us out too, because once you guys become spotters, you can have a way to notify them, which then that information gets to us or vice versa. We always trade back and forth, but that is important. And it's not so much to know exactly what is happening in your community right now. That's important, don't get me wrong, but what happens in your community is a big sign of what happens for the next community. And that's our job, is to always look ahead for those being impacted in weather. And spotters are a big part of that. So thank you for mentioning that. And I hope you have fun tonight. It should be the great crew over there. So you'll have a fun call for sure. All right. So let's dive into it. I know you're asking questions about how things are going to evolve for the weekend. Hopefully, when I get through the next 2 hours, I'm kidding, over the next 20 minutes, roughly, I'll be able to hopefully answer all those questions. So pay careful attention, know where you are on the maps as I show them, and pay attention to the clock on the time frame as well. And I'll be mentioning that several times. Okay, let's get to the snowboard real fast. You know what? I honestly really just didn't change much here. I still think it's a rain or snow setup, depending on where you're at in wave country, for Monday into early on Tuesday. And then I still think there will be some type of system that's organized toward the 17th and 19th time period. We just don't know yet whether it's going to be something significant or not. I did raise the scale on the one on Monday to a 2, nothing major, but I did raise it because if we end up on the snow side, there could be some impacts, limited to an extent, but I do think it's something that is worth watching. There's your tease for that. We'll come back around, I promise, in a second. But first, more importantly, hey, we are counting down. Get ready, guys. The Great American Solar Eclipse, 60 days away from happening. Let's hope we have decent weather at that time. Now, we roughly run a 65 to 67% risk of being overcast on that date of April the 8th. It's a Monday. It's also the Monday after spring break. So a lot of schools are out. JCPS will not be in session, I know. It's kind of extended out a bit more. But this is going to be in the afternoon at 3:05 is when we'll first have part of our area reach totality. Louisville will not be in totality. We'll be close, 99.6%. But I'm telling you, after going through what I went through in 2017 down in Hopkinsville, you've got to be in the 100% to fully experience it. Even 99.6 is still not what the eclipse is all about. So a lot of people will be traveling up to Indiana because the closest to us will be roughly around Sellersburg, Scottsburg area. That's where it'll start at 100%. And that's the duration, and it'll increase in the length and time, by the way, all the way to India. A lot of folks are coming. William Shatner is coming to IU as well, bringing the Blue Origin capsule there to the IU campus. So there's a lot of folks coming to Indiana. Indiana is going to be one of the bigger spotlights in the country, I think. Texas will be probably up there too. A lot of folks are going to Texas, but I think Indiana is going to be up there. So anyway, we're going to be covering this in a lot of detail over the next well, 60 days. You're going to be hearing a lot of different stories about it, different unique aspects of the eclipse itself, since we've already got one big test run that we had in 2017. And this is it for a few lifetimes. So as far as getting totality, again, back in our area. So take advantage of this moment. And let's hope, again, we have nice weather. Because right now it's nice. It's live view down in Bardstown. We've got some cloud cover around today. And that's the thing. I do think it will be mostly cloudy today. But we have a decent wind flow, warm air advection. Now, because it is becoming mostly cloudy, the wind speeds likely will be knocked down a few notches compared to what it looked like yesterday. So it still could get gusts to 30 miles per hour, but I think getting up to 35 may be a little bit more of a challenge because of the overcast idea. But that south wind is key on moving that needle, the thermometer, and it's doing that. So we should easily cross over 60 today and likely get into the mid 60s for a few hours this afternoon. All right, let me show you the satellite. You can see the cloud cover. Now, there's just enough moisture right in the upper layers of the atmosphere that this cloud bank, there's a bit of clearing behind this, but this cloud bank will likely keep redeveloping right along I-65 for the afternoon. So that's the reason why it's likely going to be mostly cloudy. We do have a rain chance. That will be tonight. Then we get into a warm setup, very warm for tomorrow. That will lead into the one of two issues that I am tracking for the outlook here for today. Okay, let's get through it. Here's the HER model. I think it's got the best handle on the scenario. It's got us in the mid 60s this afternoon. I like that. I like that 65. Okay, we get into tonight. The air is quite dry. So this first round of showers that starts to light up on the radar is going to be difficult to get anything measurable out of it, but it's possible. It likely will be a situation if you watch the car and you're hoping to get another day of it being shiny, it's probably going to aim right toward you. So you've jinxed it for sure, but a few sprinkles, raindrops will take place. But notice the thermometer just doesn't really drop much tonight. I think we're going to stay above 50 the entire night. So there we go. Now tomorrow is going to be quite warm. In fact, I do think we have a chance to get to record levels of warmth for tomorrow. The record tomorrow is 70. I believe it's 2009 was the record. It will be close to that the way it's looking. All right, we'll start off with some sunshine as we head into the morning hours, these partly cloudy skies. We're going to jump into the 60s fast. What will make a difference on whether the high is 67, 68, or 70 is the increase in a high deck of clouds that just about every model I've looked at is moving in from the south heading northbound. The timing of that is going to be roughly 2 to 3 o'clock. It will surge northbound. If that is delayed just a smidge, that will get us to 70. If it arrives faster than expected, we won't probably get to 70. Either way, 67, 70, warm, right? It's going to be a nice feeling day. It may not be a nice looking day all day because the clouds will be around, especially in the afternoon. But as far as how it feels, boy, that spring fever or beaver fever, as I've been calling it, will likely get your attention as we head into your Friday afternoon. And that's a Friday on top of that. It's going to be a busy day outside for a lot of folks at the parks. Okay, so this is where things start to change, though, as we get into Friday night. I think Friday evening is going to be fine. I think we'll have no issues. I mean, the HER, you can see there, by the way, it takes us to 70 for high there. We have a few chances for an isolated shower or two before we get to the midnight hour. Otherwise, if you have Friday evening plans, the rain chance is not very high at all. The temperature will actually ease back a couple notches into the 50s, likely mid 50s, upper 50s, somewhere in that range. But then we have another front and a low pressure that's moving by the Great Lakes that's going to bring back in another bump of warmer air, along with a decent amount of moisture this time. We have dry air impacting the rain chance in the next 24 hours, but the second system here that moves in Friday night and Saturday has more of a kick to it. So temperatures likely will start to rise Friday night into the wee hours of your Saturday, and the amount of lift we have with this will then lead to thunderstorms that will develop. Now, a lot of this will be elevated thunderstorms, but a few could try to root down. And what I mean by that is the bases could be a bit lower than forecast. And that's going to make a difference on whether or not we hear the NOAA weather radio go off for a severe thunderstorm warning at 4 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. Would be if one or two of these can try to root down. And that potential right now is showing up in some of the data, but not all of it. Typically in these scenarios, they are elevated. They usually can produce some wind, but more often than not, they're hail makers. Not overly large, but pea to marble size, just under severe limits, of course, on some of those sizes there, but will be enough to get your attention. Lightning and thunder likely with this. And again, this is in the wee hours of Saturday, so early morning wake-up call. Make sure to watch Carson Meredith. He'll be on the air on Sunrise starting at 5 a.m. Hopefully he won't be on before that. But at 5 a.m. he'll be on with any updates on this. Right now, the Storm Prediction Center does not have this outlook for severe. The Colorado State Learning Module does have a low-end severe risk for damaging winds and isolated hail. And some of the data I've looked at is at least showing that possibility that we could get 1 or 2 warnings. I wouldn't rule it out. It's a non-zero chance, but overall the risk is low. But given the idea it's been quiet lately, we haven't had much happening, not much on the radar, this will get a lot of attention, especially in the middle of the night. It'll wake you up. Once this passes by in the morning hours, a stormy start to the day, we will then see the rain ease a little more to the south and east for the afternoon hours, and we'll get rid of the thunder threat altogether. All right, this is a look at the same data, but in a numerical form listed. And let me try to bring this full screen because I know it's hard to read. And we're just monitoring some of the data that's showing up. I mean, CAPE, this is a measurement of the fuel that we're going to have in the atmosphere. It's not overly high. It's under 500 in many cases, so it is quite low. It's mainly the wind fields again. And the dew point does climb. We get up there to roughly about the 57 to 60 degree range, which is, right there, that green. That gets us to the point of talking about maybe some strong thunderstorms. So it gets us in the range. Again, it's all real marginal data that we're looking at, but it does certainly indicate the potential for some thunderstorms. You can see even bumps the wind up in the morning hours as these thunderstorms move through. Timing on this. I would say at the moment it's fair to go with like a 3 to 7 a.m. That may be too large of a window, but 3 to 7 a.m., that's the window to watch. We'll stick with that for now, and we'll let you know if we need to adjust that. Again, not a huge risk on severe, but it's on the table for at least some thunderstorms and small hail early on Saturday. Okay, then we get into number 2. First off, is everybody good? Type 1 if you're good on getting all the way into Saturday as far as the weather elements go. I mean, there's some good news. We could get a record high out of this. So hopefully that'll help. It's just going to be a little bit noisy on Saturday. Travis is here. Hi, Travis. All right. Adam's happy you're here, Travis. Okay. Thanks. I see all the ones. Appreciate it. Thank you all. All right. So what happens to number 2? Well, that is a complete sort of different storyline. We will have another chance at thunderstorms, but we also have a chance for snow with a second piece. Now, here's the good news for those that are going to be out for Super Bowl Sunday. It looks like we'll get into the 50s in some areas. We'll have some sun during the daytime period of roughly 11 to 4 p.m., But after that, we're going to cloud up. But I don't see any weather issues if you're going to be traveling to friends or anything like that for to watch the game. But later into Sunday night, into Monday morning, we will begin to see the rain light up on the radar. This is when our low pressure will then develop and move across nearly over central Kentucky as we head into your Monday. So Monday morning, I don't see any issues. All right, we're fine. We don't have to worry about heavy rain. We don't have to worry about snow. We don't have to worry about severe weather. Monday morning will be just some light rain showers, but it will be chilly. The question is going to be, what happens after that? Okay, so look at the temperature first off. This is just the Euro and not the GFS is similar, but not to the a tight of a gradient. But I like what the Euro is doing because it typically happens this way. Notice we've got 60s in central and southern Kentucky, southern parts. Then we get 40s, mid to upper 40s in Louisville, and then we've got temperatures in the lower 30s on our fringe Indiana counties, Lawrence, all the way to about Jennings. This is going to be a close call for those of you in Indiana. So be on standby, Indiana, for changes on this forecast. This is a classic setup at dynamic cooling. Now, a couple of things that work against it would be temperatures are near record levels the next day, right? So, or the next couple of days. So that leads to a very warm ground scenario. All right. Second issue, it's a daytime snow chance. Ooh, that's tough. That is tough. I've seen it happen, but boy, to get snow to accumulate on a ground that is warm, like this scenario that we're talking about, it's got to come down hard. And it can. But where will that be? If it's a lighter snow, it'll be more of a rain-snow mix. If you're right on the edge of that, you will likely not see much at all of any accumulation. You'll just see a rain snow mix, and it's kind of a miserable day. And Louisville may just end up with a very cold rain type of setup. But this rain snow line, the track is not locked in. This is only Thursday. This is going to keep evolving, and it has been in the past 12 hours. It's been flipping around back and forth on this idea. But this is one of those that you need to watch. It's got about a ½ inch of liquid potential with it. So how much of that is going to be used for snow? That's a question that will be determined by the temperatures in the lower layers of the atmosphere. We need high res data to see that. Weather balloons actually get into the system for the first time today. So I got a feeling once we get into the midday and afternoon models, we will start to see a lot more agreement. And I'm hoping to see that anyway. But there will be a very tight gradient the way it's looking. And it's worth mentioning that those of you that get into the 50s to near 60 could actually run into thunderstorms, and one or two of those could actually be strong too. So we may have a very busy setup here on Monday, and it could go into an alert day type status if we end up seeing these elements get enhanced a little more. Something we'll be watching. Once we get into Monday afternoon, then that's when we have that chance of the rain snow line to go a little further south, but it will be lighter. Very difficult at that point. Again, if it's a light snow scenario, even if it can flip the snow, which it may even in Louisville, it'll be much harder for it to stick compared to when it's at its heaviest when it's coming down. Timing for Indiana, I'll tell you what, if this was a little slower or faster, a little more of a nighttime event, that rain snow line would be probably a little more expanded, and it would probably be more intense too on the snow potential. But this being a daytime issue is the only thing that's kind of just bothering me right now. I don't know yet if that's going to be a big hindrance or not. So there's a lot of ifs on this, but it is interesting. It is interesting, and a classic setup for us that we haven't had in a while. All right, it moves on by. We will watch temperatures drop to near the freezing mark as we head into Monday night and Tuesday morning. We'll need to watch that for just about all areas. For bridges and overpasses, main roads should be fine, but bridges and overpasses could have a few slick spots in Tuesday morning. Something, again, we'll fine tune. We're not ready to do a snow map or anything like that. I can break this down for you guys even more. If you're in Madison, Indiana, let me explain. This is looking at the atmosphere sideways. So this is where we are down at the ground level. Up here is where basically the planes fly. Here is your freezing line right through here. And your moisture line is green, by the way, as you go up in the atmosphere from the ground level. You want that green line to be left of this dotted line that I'm highlighting. Let me get rid of my pen so you can see it right there. You want that to be left. You want a cold profile below freezing. That is how you get a thumping of snow to happen. This is for Madison. I don't have a sounding, by the way, like this for all areas, so I can't show every city. But it is close. Boy, it is close. It's only just barely to the right of that dotted line there. But barely counts when it comes to this scenario. If it's right of it, it'll be rain, a cold rain. Louisville, by the way, the sounding, it looks similar, but it actually does have more of a right shift to it to where it is a cold rain scenario. But this is where it is, again, raining, and where it is colder. We'll see whether or not if you get heavy enough rain, sometimes you can cool the air down, and it'll push, for all intents and purposes, that line to the left. Then that's when things get a little more exciting. But right now, I think it's Indiana. And Indianapolis to Cincinnati is a much better spot than we are. But I think some of our northern counties in Indiana still need to watch that. Okay, so what happens after that? Well, we have a couple of clippers, not much moisture with it. Don't see much of an issue in general, but they will just kind of reinforce the chilly air that we'll try to hold on next week. One will be Tuesday night into Wednesday. One will be on Thursday. We do try to warm up toward the end of the period here. There's a little bit of a push, but for snow lovers, you honestly, in this weather pattern, you do want a warm push of air, because that is how you're going to get moisture. If not, you're just cold and dry. But it's a risk, right? It's a risk of being too warm and ends up being rain. But here's the problem I see with a lot of the modeling right now in the longer term, and while I can't go into too much detail more than what I'm about to, is that we have a lot of energy that is going to be dropping in. Several clippers. It is stacked. It is a traffic jam. A lot of clippers diving in as we head into the extended outlook. At the same time, there's still going to be energy coming in across the Gulf of Mexico. The question is phasing. And we're going to be talking about that a lot over the next couple of weeks, is will we see phasing of any of the systems, and where will that be? Because that will determine whether or not we end up with wintry weather or not. But you've got to be excited as a snow lover to see this pattern because it is quite interesting. The models, though, may at times show warm air because they're going to be off track on the speed of the clipper or the southern piece, and that'll fluctuate. You'll see one day it'll have a high of 52. The next time you look at it, it's 35 and has snow on it. It will bounce around, and that's normal in this scenario. We just can't pay attention to the finer details of those models yet until we get closer. We just know the upper air pattern is supportive of this type of setup that can feature us in wintry weather. The polar vortex update, it's showing the cold air still. It doesn't have too much of a dive like it did yesterday right in the eastern United States. But again, you don't want it to be too dominant or you end up cold and dry. You just want it to be right next door, across the street to where you can wave at it. Then that's when you get into more exciting weather on the wintry side. All right. Whew. Boy, my goodness, that was a lot today. Sorry about that. And it's only Thursday. Come on, guys. That's too much. Too much to talk about on Thursday, right? It's too beautiful to be that in depth. All right. Did I get everybody's question? I hope I did. If not, I'll try to go back and look. Adam, evaporative cooling may help Indiana snow melt. Yeah. I mean, you got roughly a half inch of liquid to work with. So it's a matter of what the atmosphere wants to do with that. If it splits it up, you're going to cut down quite a bit. Snow ratios will be quite low. Talking about like a 5-to-1 ratio there. All right, that's my nerdy moment of the day. Have a good one, guys.